certainly a surprising change for a lot of conservatives is the Vatican declaring that sex change operations and surrogacy are grave threats to human dignity and acts contrary to God's work. In a scathing 20-page document touching on social issues, the Holy See's Doctrine Office saying, quote, any sex change intervention, as a rule, risks threatening the unique dignity the person has received from the moment of conception. It goes on to say that God created man and woman biologically different and urges individuals against efforts to try and alter God's plan. Now, that writing, 5 years in the works and approved by Pope Francis, also condemns surrogacy, stating, quote, the child has the right to have a fully human and not artificially induced origin and to receive the gift of life that manifests both the dignity of the giver and that of the receiver. So in short, it states that the practice violates the dignity of mothers and children, putting both gender theory and surrogacy on the same par as abortion and euthanasia in the eyes of the Catholic Church. Now, the publication of the document, seen as an olive branch to conservative Catholics who took issue with Pope Francis's decision last year to extend blessings to individuals in same-sex relationships. But this writing also condemns countries that criminalize homosexuality, noting some of the severe measures taken against people based on their orientation, including imprisonment, torture, and even death. Now, the Vatican reiterates its stance under Pope Francis on several other issues, from the death penalty to war and sexual abuse, and again ignites debate among Catholics and exposes the divides inside of the church. Lydia?
Alex, thank you so much. And it's a welcome relief and change. I'm Catholic myself, to hear Pope Francis take a very strong issue on such a stance on such a controversial issues. Thank you so much. All right, let's bring in our next guest, National Director for Priests for Life, Father Frank Pavone. Father, thank you so much for joining us.
Lydia, it's always good to be with you.
This news out of Vatican City, Pope Francis taking a strong stance on sex change operations and hormones and surrogacy. Your reaction?
Well, it's important to understand whether these things are right or wrong, according to Catholic doctrine, isn't really up to Pope Francis. And so he's in a position where he has to affirm and apply the Church's long-standing teaching on human dignity. And a lot of that, Lydia, as we've discussed before, it's rooted in common sense. I mean, you can't say that a man can become a woman or a woman can become a man. It's a basic denial of God's truth that's written in the human body, just like you can't say a baby in the womb is not a baby. So it's a welcome. I mean, this is what the Pope is supposed to be doing, right? He's supposed to be affirming and applying the Church's teaching to the common, to everyday circumstances. The other dimension here, when we start talking about surrogacy and so forth, children are a gift. And that doesn't only mean that they cannot be destroyed, it means they cannot be demanded. We can't demand a child, make a child, insist that we use every technology to bring about a child. And that's also what the Pope is reflecting here.
Absolutely. And Pope Francis, he got a lot of criticism for what he wanted to say to, is it the right word to say that he said to bless same-sex marriages? Can you kind of explain what that was about? Because a lot of people were calling him woke and he was contradicting how so many Catholics feel. So what are your thoughts?
I see that as a politically naive move. I mean, the only other alternative is to say that he wants to help the gay rights agenda. But you can say that, okay, you look at the documents he sent out explaining that, and he said, look, we're not changing the Church's teaching on marriage or the fact that sexual activity has to be within marriage. All right, you can say that, but, politics and campaigns are sound bites and snapshots, as Dan Bongino always says. And what that means is that that 9-10-page explanation doesn't do anything in the culture war. All that the other side that's promoting gay marriage and everything needs to see is the snapshot, the two men holding hands and the priest with his giving them a blessing, and the soundbite, church blesses gay couples. And so I think it's more, we've got to get ourselves a little bit sharper here on how to fight these battles.
Father Pavone, we have to leave it right there. I hope you'll get a good glimpse of the eclipse that we are continuing to follow. Thank you so much, Father, as always.
Thanks, Lydia.